Hey, it's pissing rain, so I thought it'd be a good time to show you how to not only find dry wood, but how to make a fire with wet ass wood. Okay, as you can see, this is wet. I got it out of a puddle. Okay, so then it's been in a puddle for about 12 hours. So what you need to do is simple. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down. Oh, take your knife or your axe. Okay, and what you want to see, the outside of this wood, it's even dripping water. The outside of this wood, of course, is gonna be wet. Okay, so what you need to do is get to the dry wood that's in the center of the wood. And the way you do that is you can try to just shave it down, but that's not really going to get you anywhere. As you can see, this is soaking. So take your knife, and this is a marginal baton, but and wet wood's going to be harder to baton than dry wood is. Ow. Okay. And this is hardwood anyway. So as you can see, it is splitting. This is just not great wood to be batoning with, especially with this baton. Okay, now that we did that, you see how this is starting to go through? Now this will be drier than on the outside, but you can still see it's still wet. So you take it down a little smaller. And the smaller you take it, the better your fire will be. Okay? And the easier it is going to be to baton. Now normally I don't recommend batoning, but as you can see, we're already getting to the dry wood. Okay? Now, the reason I probably want to take it down a little bit smaller is, and one, it'll be easier to dry out with marginal flame, and two, it'll be more likely to keep your fire going. Okay. Now, of course, if you're in the woods or you're somewhere and you're outside, you can use your back to protect what you're batoning already. And then kind of just start shaving off. Find what you want. You know, basically you're getting your tinder now. But as you can see, this right here is this is wet, this is dry. And the more dry wood you have, of course, the better your fire will be. Now, some wood won't feather as well as others. It's just, as you can see, this wood is not going to be really feathering too much. But your bigger pieces, once you get a fire going, just put them beside it and it will dry out. But like I said, this is not the best baton. Okay, now we have it busted up. As you can still see, it's still wet here. This is all dry. So we're gonna go through. Like I said, if you're out in inclement weather, use your back to shield it. Now, like I said, this is not going to really be the type of wood that's going to feather really well. It's not a soft wood, it's a hardwood. So I'm just going to do minimum. I'm basically building something that will burn easily to dry out the rest of the wood. Okay? And like I said, sometimes it's easier just to do it that way, like that's all dry. And then we're going to feather it down. Don't judge me on my feathering because this is not a soft wood. And it's hardwood is not really featherable as easily, but you can still do it. I'm basically just taking everything I can down to as little, well, I shouldn't say as little, but I'm processing it all down, just getting the dry, or in some cases drier parts. Wet wood, and what I mean by wet wood is wood that's been in water will also not feather as good as it should. Even if it's a feathering tree or feathering species, it won't be as good for it. But as you can see, we're getting down to the dry pieces now. And like I said, I'm just going through and basically getting all the dry that I can. I'm not really focusing on what my feather sticks looks like just now, because this is, if you're in the outdoors, this is you want to protect this and get this going. And this right here, as I'm processing it, the smaller pieces are drying out. So you want to protect those. And like I said, right now, I'm just basically trying to get stuff that I can get a small flame on. And this right here is still wet. It's a bigger piece, and there's still some dry to it. But as you can see, it's still, basically what I'm doing now is all the dry parts of it. Now, while we're inside, we can throw up, 10, 15 pieces of fat wood in. Well, not that many, but it's a point, and make sure it dries out. You can use bundle material. You can, like bundled twigs. Anything that is dry, you can use to basically get what you want out of it. And what we want is enough flame to start drying some of this out. Okay? So you can even take this, and with the back of your knife, if it has a 90-degree, set and process this down. And as you can see, it's not completely dry in here, but it is a little drier. I hope you can see that. Not by much. This is soaking, see? And we're gonna scoop all of this together so it's easier to clean up so my wife doesn't kill me. Do we have any viewers? Mm-hmm. Okay, sweet. Hey, whoever's watching.
Edith Diane Reap is watching.
Okay. And like right here, like I said, I'm just processing this down, just to get to the drier parts. And like I said, this is a hardwood, so my feathering is going to be not as beautiful as it normally is. Now, all I'm going to do from this point is, I highly recommend, this is birch bark. So I'm going to take some of this. See, birch bark will burn even if it's wet. It has extremely volatile oils in it. So I'm going to take some of this and just put it right here, just so I know where it's at. Okay? Now, I'm going to take some of these pieces and I'm going to put around it for it to dry out. Okay. Some of these dry pieces. One, so they'll get going and kind of dry out the pieces that are marginal at best. You know, the bigger pieces. And I burned some bills and credit card statements and everything else the other day, so I have a ton of ash in here that I wish I probably shouldn't have had, but it's an impromptu video. And that's the thing about bushcraft, you don't always get what you want. You have to make do. The knife that I'm using is just a Mora Garberg. It's the only full tank Mora they make. It's made in Sweden. It's not cheap, but in this case, it's well worth it. If you don't have a Mora or a more expensive knife, then you can use anything really. You can use an axe to do this. You can use anything as long as you use it and learn how to use it. The knife doesn't make the person. It's just I have a lot of questions about what particular knife I use. To me, it's not important, but to other people, it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and light this. This will go up like paper, as you can see. While that's going up, I'm going to put wood around it to keep it going. And once I do this, if I sit and baby it and everything, because right now the fire's in its infancy, it'll dry out the wood I've processed and keep going. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know. I probably won't do a big fire, but just because my wife's put stuff on it. But that's how you take marginal and extremely wet material and process it down to get to the drier material and build a fire. So thank you. Like, share, comment, any questions, whatever. Love you.